So I have talked about this topic before in one of my previous lost media videos, but there have been a couple new findings. I'll quickly summarize what the Mexia Supermarket was and what happened to it. In July of 1999, the Mexia Supermarket, which was a grocery store in Fort Worth, Texas, was shut down and abandoned after the store owners declared bankruptcy. Later that year in October, city officials went back to the store and discovered that everything was left inside to decay. The possible reasoning on why the owners abandoned the store was because they couldn't make the business profitable, and so after they shut it down, the owners went back to their home country, Laos. Months went by and the Mexia Supermarket wouldn't be visited or cleaned out, which eventually led to more bacteria, decay, and overall a bad scent in the area. It got to the point that nearby residents complained to city officials about the unbearable scent. Just to put it in perspective, the city officials had to wear hazmat suits, oxygen tanks, and other protective equipment in order to clean up the store. Now, just a couple months ago when I first talked about this topic, only a handful of images and reports were available that showcased the store during that day. However, as of recently, we got more information. One of my viewers named Benjamin actually conducted research on the whereabouts of the tapes. After looking at the credits of the Life After People episode, show, he discovered that the Environmental Management Department of Fort Worth had archival stills and footage of the incident. Benjamin contacted the current supervisor of Fort Worth Environmental Management, Anthony Williams. He stated that the clips shown in the episode were recorded by McGlurk, but despite the search, no available footage was found in Fort Worth's digital archives due to the radical changes to his department. As another attempt to gather more information, Benjamin emailed the special collections at North Texas University. They managed to find a logbook that confirmed footage was taken on November 16, 1999, but unfortunately it had never been digitized. He then made the decision to email Borner if he knew anything about the footage's possible status, to which he explained that the film was recorded by a home VHS camera, but the original tape is likely missing. Interestingly enough, TV news logs from KXAS NBC News 1 contained two news stories titled Mexia Food and Foul Food Mexia. Other stories included keywords such as grocery waste and hazmat story, which does mean that the incident and aftermath did receive some TV coverage. The only problem is the clips haven't resurfaced. The only new pieces of images that have been found are these 4 new photos that were discovered by Benjamin when he was looking into old news articles on newspapers.com. In this Reddit post, a user from the Lost Media subreddit recalls a TV channel in the Philippines accidentally showing a nude picture of a 90s adult actress named Rosanna Rosez while airing Teletubbies. As stated by the OP, they haven't found any recordings of the incident, nor have they found the image that was shown. However, a reference picture was posted that showed how Rosanna was posing. There's not too much information regarding the broadcast except a couple news articles, with this BBC article being the most notable. It goes on to explain that Felicitas Alejandro, who's part of the TV Review and Classification Board, saw the incident and added on that it appeared on the screen for several seconds, to which a GMA official stated that an employee who was helping repair a computer accidentally pressed one of the buttons on the panel, to which the photo was left on broadcast for 8 seconds before it was taken down. There have been other cases somewhat similar. The one that comes straight to my mind is the Handy Manny incident, which was on Playhouse Disney's program Handy Manny, was interrupted with hardcore pornography in Lincroft, New Jersey. Whatever the case it be with the Teletubbies Interruption, it definitely is a piece of unusual lost media. For those unaware, Everywhere at the End of Time is the 11th album recording by The Caretaker, which was produced and released by Leland Kirby between 2016 to 2019. The album uses loops of sampled ballroom music to simulate the progression of Alzheimer's, as it's meant to reflect the person's disorder, feelings, the phenomenon of terminal lucidity, and death. To portray this even more, each album was released over a 6-month period to give a sense of passing time. For this video and just what I'm talking about, I'm not going to go too deep into every stage and its significant meaning, as I just want to simply go over the music samples. So throughout its entirety, music samples were used, and for the most part, their origins have been identified. However, One of the most sought out after samples is the final 5 minutes of the last song, Places in the World Fades Away. As of now, the sample hasn't been identified. For the track, it starts off by using an organ drone tool, to which the organ drone then gives a needle drop for the climax of the album. What's different about this track compared to the others is that it feels endless but calmer at the same time. In the last final minutes, a melancholic hymn sung by the choir is heard for a small duration before the audio completely cuts out, which is meant to represent the death and passing of a person or patient in this case. With many having listened to the album in its entirety, there was a ton of speculation on claims regarding the final minutes. A post was made on the Lost Media subreddit by user Weenie Hut Jr. They added that the sample is from a record from the record store according to Leland, but he has never confirmed the name of the record. More information was added onto this post, as it was also stated that the sample was made in the 1960s and copies were given to all 50 choir members to take home with them, making it a private record. In an interview, Leland explained that around 30 years after its original recording, he managed to secure 2 copies of a record at a local shop while he was still living in the UK. This confused him for many reasons because he never publicly released them. So when he asked the choir members on what they did with their copy, and according to the rest of the choir members, all of their copies have been lost. When Leland was questioned on what he sampled, and if he remembered the name of it, he said that he genuinely didn't remember the name at all. The mindset behind the project was to take all the recordings he could get his hands on and just heavily distort them. In his own words, the source didn't matter at all. All he cared about was how it sounded like. Another reason that was suggested was that since the records were white labeled, it was almost impossible to determine any information about it since white label records typically don't have producer information, and they sometimes don't have a record name or artist, or any official label to identify the song. They were popular around the 1960s and 70s, and were often seen as a way for record labels and artists to try out new sounds and vocals, or to build suspense around an upcoming release without fully committing to an official release. Ever since the final part of the album's release in 2019, many have questioned whether or not the sample would be discovered. This became even more prevalent in 2020 as more were exposed to everywhere at the end of time, and this led to others investigating. One of the biggest claims was back in December 2020, when someone posted a YouTube video of what they believed to be the real sample, but as mentioned in the description, they noted that it wasn't the exact same version used by the caretaker, as there were some minor differences and tweaks. But ultimately, this was debunked by Leland Kirby as he said it wasn't the same. The only thing that was correct was the melody, so while they found the official melody that the choir was singing, the exact recording is still a mystery. Other information from the sample includes that it previously showed up as Friends Past Reunited in 2001 on the Caretaker's A Stairway to the Stars album, and even before that in 1999 on Selected Memories from the Haunted Ballroom. But with all that being said, the chances of getting the source isn't the greatest, but that still hasn't prevented many to stop looking. Countdown is one of Britain's longest running game shows, first airing all the way back in November 1982. The show consists of a matchup between 2 contestants who compete in 3 game types. One of them is letter rounds, in which they attempt to make the longest word possible from 9 randomly chosen letters. Another one is number rounds, in which they use math to reach or come close to a number using only 6 given numbers. And finally, the buzzer round, in which participants attempt to solve a 9-letter anagram. With over 8,000 episodes and a whole ton of contestants, it was expected that there would be a couple of strange occurrences, and in this case, strange wouldn't be the most appropriate word, because these 2 contestants I'm about to show you are pure evil. One of the contestants made an appearance on episode 2045. It was originally scheduled to be broadcasted on July 9th, 1997 for the show's 36th series. The episode featured 2 contestants named Joe Hill and Alan Horn. The day prior to Joe playing against Alan, he versed another man named Paul Harrison. There's honestly not too much information regarding the episode of Joe and Alan as it never aired. All we know is that Joe Hill ended up winning against Alan. After the episode, Alan Horn never made an appearance on the show, which was weird to some fans because there have been cases where some of the contestants make their way back onto the show. Before every episode, every contestant had to have their pictures taken for safety precautions, which were available for the public to see. A former official at HM Customs and Excise, which is a tax agency in the UK, noticed a picture of Alan Horn and immediately informed the producers of Countdown on who he was. As it turned out, Alan Horn was convicted of sexually abusing 2 underage girls. In 1982, he was arrested and charged with 13 counts of gross indecency, to which he later then pleaded guilty to 5 counts and was acquitted of the rest. For his crimes, Alan Horn was sentenced to only 2 years in prison. When the local residents saw his picture in the newspapers and were informed about his past actions, both Channel 4 and Yorkshire Television received backlash for not doing a proper background check on him. To avoid other problems, they decided it was best not to release the episode. The thing is, a simple background check would have easily prevented Alan Horn from attending the show. But the thing is, there were a couple game shows in the 90s that didn't have a good reputation of doing background checks. And there were even some cases where they didn't do them at all. Now, the Countdown in particular didn't do one. And one of the Channel 4 spokesmen stated that Alan Horn would have never been allowed to compete had his criminal record been uncovered beforehand. But unfortunately, this wouldn't be the last time an evil individual made an appearance on the show. Many years later after the first incident, episode 5723 was intended to broadcast on July 2nd, 2013. This one featured one new opponent, and a former contestant named Steve Grimble. Steve had just returned following a one-off appearance all the way back in 1987 during the show's 11th season, but for some unforeseen reason at the time, it never aired. In its replacement, a season 40 special episode was broadcasted instead. Many of the show's fans were confused about the replacement. A popular rumor at the time was that it was another episode 2045 situation, and sadly, they were correct. Later that same year in December, it was announced that Steve Grimble's opponent was 48-year-old Mark Harrison, who was a former math teacher at St. Monica's Roman Catholic High School. Mark was at the point of his career where he was considering early retirement, but he still wanted to work for the school without having such a large role. So in this case, Mark volunteered for the school's orchestra and stage show. It was during this time though that Mark got a little too comfortable with the younger girls. It was revealed that Mark Harrison had an affair with a 14-year-old schoolgirl after sexting her on Facebook. Reportedly, he swapped up to 100 texts per day, to which she eventually began to gain attraction to him. The messages between them were eventually leaked, and while I can't go too deep into it, essentially, he would tell her that he was waiting for her to turn 16 so that he could legally have sex with her, and said that she wasn't like any other girl. He continued to send pictures of himself when he was aroused and other disturbing messages. Both met up multiple times in person and engaged in numerous sexual activities. Despite suffering from both mental and physical harm, the 14-year-old girl came forward and explained to a staff member what Mark had been doing to her. As it was explained to the police, she stated, "He talked me into everything and assumed I wanted everything he wanted, and in the end, that's what I thought I wanted." The girl was treated for depression after what she experienced, and was taken to counseling after harming herself numerous times. Because of all of this, Mark Harrison was arrested and formally charged on September 19, 2013. A month later in court, he pleaded guilty to 4 counts of sexual activity with a child and 1 count of grooming. It was suspected that Mark was talking to another child at the time, but this was never fully confirmed. His only active offense was that he believes the girl led him on due to the fact that she sent him a Facebook friend request after they talked for a bit. It's so strange to think about because he truly thought that she was interested, but this was quickly dismissed. For his actions, Mark Harrison received only a 2.5-year prison sentence and a decade-long sexual offenses prevention order. Due to investigation beginning before the episode airing, it would be cancelled by Channel 4. The chances of both episodes ever being released are pretty slim since they both have disturbing context behind them. So this is another topic I mentioned in the past, but this time, it's actually been found. To quickly summarize things up, in June 2021, Anonymous Redditor 39 would post on the non-murder mystery subreddit asking if anyone recognizes a creepy ad that they remember that aired in the early 2000s. They explained, "When I was a kid, I saw this creepy advert on TV. I only ever saw it once, and ever since I saw it, I always wondered what was trying to be advertised and who made it. I remember that the ad started off with a home video of a young girl running around in a field of daisies and maybe blowing on a dandelion. Her mother may have also been sitting on the grass with the girl. The footage is quite old and potentially in black and white. Over the top, the song Whatever Will Be by Doris Day is playing. Then there's a picture of the little girl which slowly morphs into a woman as she grows up. The picture of the woman then transforms into an ill-looking, bruised woman whose facial features have been damaged from drugs. At the end, a clanging sound can be heard as jail bars then appear over the image and the song fades out. The advert appeared approximately between 2003 and 2010 in England. At first, many believed it was either a drug or crime prevention PSA. Now you would think this would be a big problem since there's so many crime and drug PSAs out there, but this didn't stop people from searching. A username into the bounding main made a recreation of the PSA based on the OP's description. As a last attempt to garner even more information, the OP posted on the r/AskUK subreddit, as it was the only one they haven't posted on yet. They were luckily directed by another user to a creepy version of the song by Pink Martini, which was released in 1997. The OP believed that this version of the song was the exact one used in the PSA, as it perfectly fit with the tone of the commercial. But ever since that post from 2 years ago, there hasn't been a discovery. Until today. Or, well, the time I wrote the script. Anonymous Redditor 39 once again posted on Reddit saying that it's been discovered. On a Twitter post for the Lost Commercials Foundation, it was explained that both Otto and Blue Frog have been following the lead that Sera might have been a promo or trailer for a while, but what caught their attention was this comment on a YouTube video. I remember Sera being used in a true crime TV spot years ago when I had Sky TV. I think it was for a show titled Snapped: Women Who Kill. Upon searching up Snapped, it brought them to this promo video.
What drives a woman to murder? Snapped. Brand new and exclusive. Weeknights at 11 on the Crime and Investigation Network.
The original video was discovered on Vimeo and was directed by Martin Gent. Besides the video, a whole ton of behind the scene and ad shots from the promo have also been discovered. I'll show as many as I can, but if you want access to all of them, I'll leave the link in the description so that you can view it. And that wraps it up for the video. If you made it to this point, I just want to thank you so much for watching. Alright, so I'm just trying to get back to posting consistently because the last 2 videos, I think it was like 3 weeks that I posted them, like a 3-week time span. And I mean, at one point I was saying, let me go for weekly videos, and that only survived for I think 2 weeks. But I don't know, I'm just gonna try to post as consistently as I can now, and I mean, and I already have the topic for the next video, so I'm already in a good spot. But yeah, this is gonna be the first video of 2024, and I just want to thank you guys for sticking with me for this long. I'm currently at like 64,000 subs, and I mean, it's still insane to me that so many people are still watching my videos. If you weren't aware, my goal for the end of 2023 was to reach 100k subs, and obviously that didn't work out, but hey, you know what? 2024, it could happen, you know, I have a good chance. If things go the way I want it to go and things just go correctly, it might happen. So just praying that I just stay consistent, and hopefully you guys enjoy the future videos. And even the ASMR channel, I hope that continues to skyrocket because it's been going pretty well right now. But yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I hope you do have a great rest of your day, night, or evening. But before you leave, I just want to let you know that I truly mean that. I truly hope you watching do have a great rest of your day, night, or evening. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.